I made a tradition to myself that during Holy Week, and particularly on Good Friday, I make it a point to see and to watch and to enjoy the greatest musical for a Bible team that we ever had, Jesus Christ Superstar, that Andrew Lloyd Webber came out with in 1973, many years ago, but still so valid and so beautiful today to watch, to reflect, and to enjoy. Not only its choreography, lyrics, and music, but also its deep and profound message on Easter Sunday. Because there you can see all the climax of life of Jesus, his resurrection, risen from the death, and why he overcome death. But reflecting on the risen Christ today is as pertinent to us all as it has been in 2,000 years of Christianity. And all this celebration that we are doing today, and all these reflections that we have gone through this week, reflecting on the Passion of Christ and His resurrection, will have no meaning for each one of us unless we apply it to our everyday life and to our personal life. We all pass through what Jesus passed through in different level of pain, humility, sacrifice, crucifixion, you name it. Every single person who has been created by God will pass through the pain and the crucifixion of Christ, but he will also, through the resurrection of Christ, through the risen Christ, will be able to experience the resurrection. How? And the answer, I got it from two great prophets of our times. And I would say even more than that. We have so many examples of the risen Christ today that I can name you quite a few. But let's pick the most important and the most famous and probably the most that you know. Dalai Lama, a spiritual leader and figure who has been exiled for 56 years from his country, living now in India because of his spiritual leadership in Tibet. To avoid massacre of his country, he accepted the humiliation of going into exile. This is the same, we can say, of Nelson Mandela, who for 27 years was imprisoned for fighting apartheid in his country, South Africa. This is the same, we can say, of Desmond Tutu, an archbishop who gave his life to bring back dignity to colored people in his own country, South Africa, and after he succeeded also to head the Reconciliation Commission of his country, so that the black people and colored people will forgive the white government and the white people who have passed laws against them in so many years. These are people who were in the tomb for many years. These are people who suffered like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, his climax was on the cross, when he said, "Forgive them, Lord, because they don't know what they are doing." He forgave everything. He forgave Judas, who betrayed him, Peter, who betrayed him, all his disciples who abandoned him. He forgave those people for whom he made, who has risen from death, who he healed in the 3 years of his public life, and now they were crucifying. He forgave even those who provoked him to come down from the cross that they put him to if he were the Son of God. He didn't retaliate, he just forgave. He just forgave. Nothing less than that. And on the cross, then he said, "Forgive them, Lord, because they don't know what they are doing." This is exactly what Dalai Lama did to the Chinese government, to the people who exiled him. This is exactly what Desmond Tutu did in the name of the all-colored people in South Africa. This is also, if we want to name also a simple man whom you don't know, a man condemned for death, on the death penalty for 30 years in Alabama in the United States, condemned innocently because he didn't do any crime, but he was there for 30 years. At long last, about a year or two ago, he was released after 30 years in prison. Coming out, he said, "Yes, I forgive every single person who has put me in this situation of death, although I am innocent. I forgive them all, because if I don't forgive, I will still remain in prison." The same words that Nelson Mandela said when he came out after 27 years of prison. "I would remain in prison if I am not ready to forgive those who put me in." And this is Easter for all of us. If we do not forgive, if we don't live this law of forgiveness, of joy, of peace, of happiness that Christ has given them, we are still in a tomb. We are still condemned by those who have hate us or caused us pain. We are still tied in chain and dead. We are not living. But if we forgive, if we want to forgive, if we start the path of forgiveness, then yes, like Christ, we are rising up. We are overcoming death and will start living again. This is the message we receive today on Easter Day. If we are not ready to forgive and to love again all those who have caused us pain, we are still not risen with Christ. And we can celebrate many Easters. We can go to all festivities that we do during this week, but it would be without effect in our life of faith. This is what we need to consider, to reflect upon on this day. If we have little angriness or hate in our lives for anybody, let's start on the path of reconciliation, like these people I named have done in their life, like Christ has done to arrive, to come out of the tomb. Let's say the prayer that we have on the screens. Loving God, you love us more than we can imagine and take in. Help us to allow ourselves to be so loved by you that your love may penetrate our hearts, our lives, and our loves. We ask this through Jesus, who died and rose for love of us, and who lives and reigns forever and ever. Now today,